Why is localization so much more complex than it seems? Basically, it's because people often confuse localization with translation. Translation is the process of moving content from one language into another. Localization is the process of making something appropriate for a local market. Localization may or may not include translation. Let's see what happens when HubSpotter Henry has a project that he thinks just needs translation. But when he meets Localization Linda, he finds out there's more to the story.
Hey Linda, thanks for meeting with me. I'm so excited to get our developer blog posts translated into Japanese. I'm surprised you wanted to meet with me, though. I sent you the link to the blog. Isn't that all you need?
Thanks so much, Henry. Yes, I love the developer blog. So cool that you're interested in having it in Japanese. I do have a few questions for you about the project, though.
Of course. What do you need to know?
Well, my first question, where does this content live? In which content management system?
It's in the HubSpot CMS. Why does that matter?
Oh, well, usually when we localize blog posts, we need to create an identical copy of the post in order to feed the translations back into the source content management system. We also store all the translations for future use in our translation management system, which is called a TMS, like CMS for translated content.
Oh geez, I forgot about that stuff. So, do you have an automated way to move this content between systems?
Yes, fortunately we have a connector between those two systems, so we can automate it. But we'll need to do some testing first to ensure we can capture the text from each module on the page, or suppress certain modules if they might not be relevant or contain dynamic content. You know, that kind of thing.
Oh wow, this is more complicated than I realized. I had never even thought of that. Is that like a Google Translate thing?
Not really. A TMS is something very different, but the benefit is similar in that it speeds up the process, helps ensure consistency and quality, and saves money. Google Translate is what we call machine translation. If you have content that lends itself to a machine learning approach, we can certainly discuss that option. Our team has plenty of training data available, and we've customized machine translation engines in the past, but generally, you need some lead time to do that. And it isn't always a great fit for a project like this one.
Oh wow, I thought your team just, translated stuff. I didn't realize you were so technical.
Yeah, we're a bunch of language nerds and tech geeks over in localization. So another question for you. How many blog posts are you planning to translate in total?
Well, I guess all of them?
Well, translation costs money, so unless you have an unlimited budget, we'd usually recommend that you prioritize the things you need most so we can do those first. Also, if we're going to invest our team's budget and resources in this, we need to know the return on investment associated with it.
I hadn't thought about that. I guess we could use the view counts in English.
That could work, but you might also want to talk to the people in our Tokyo office and get their feedback. Sometimes the content a market like Japan needs will be different from what people want in English. But using the view counts in English could be a good place to start.
Oh, I don't even know who to talk to in Tokyo.
I can help you out there with a contact or two. We work with them all the time.
Oh, thank you.
So you'll get back to me on which posts you want to translate. Now, is the blog itself already translated into Japanese?
What do you mean?
I saw that you had originally wanted just the blog post translated, but does the blog itself already exist somewhere in another language? As in, do you have it on a subdomain? Have the menus already been translated before? The headers, footers, all the core elements that appear on every page? I didn't see one, but just wanted to check in case that has already been done.
I was hoping you could help us with that too.
Oh, we sure can. It might take a little longer, but we'll make it part of the project plan.
Okay, great. Sounds like this might take longer than I thought.
Actually, that's another question I had for you. What's your time frame?
ASAP. We want to start recruiting our first developers in Japan, so we're hoping this will help us.
So is the goal of the project to recruit more developers in Japan?
That's right. We figured since we already have all this content, we should use it.
Well, if you want this turned around quickly, it might not have much SEO value because Google's algorithm looks at a lot of things, such as the quality of the content, whether it seems like a good translation or an auto-generated one, whether the links take the user to content in their language, or...
Oh wait, what do you mean by links?
The links you include in each blog post. Those take people to content in English, right?
Yeah, I guess they do.
So we'll need you to decide how you want to handle them. We can remove them entirely, but then the post might not make sense if you're referring people to the content in the links. Or we can swap them for similar items in Japanese, but that requires more time and research.
Or we could just leave the links in English.
Yes, you could do that too, but if your goal is to give the Japanese user a good experience, since you're hoping to build up our brand in Japanese among the developer community, that might be a bit frustrating for someone who doesn't speak English.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess if the situation were reversed, I wouldn't want to see links in Japanese because I can't understand it.
Exactly. So, another question. I saw that the English developer blog usually has a lot of images with text in them, like diagrams and flowcharts. Are these images that your team creates and has access to the source files, or do they come from a third party?
I think it varies in every case. Some of the posts were written by people who no longer work here, and some of the flowcharts are referenced from other websites and blogs. And before you ask me, those are all in English too. So, how do you translate the images?
Oh, we wave a magic wand. Just kidding. Sometimes we actually have to recreate them from scratch with a graphic designer who speaks Japanese. But if you have the source files available, that's the best option. It makes the cost so much lower and speeds everything up. But again, just like with links, we'll need you to tell us what you want us to do with those images.
Wow, I had no idea how much work this would be.
Yes, it is, but that's okay. We do this all the time. One last question for you. How do you usually promote these blog posts for the developer blog?
Pretty basic stuff. We email them and promote them on social media.
Oh, and do you have anyone who speaks Japanese to write the emails and the social media posts?
Well, not yet. We were hoping to hire people, but like I said, we were going to use the developer blog to attract them, just like we do in English.
Yeah, we can obviously localize emails. Those are easy. And you could perhaps skip social promotion for now. But really, it all depends on your ultimate goal. Maybe there could be an easier way to find developers in Japan. Like, maybe you hire a couple of Japanese developers first, and then they could help create a developer blog in Japanese.
Yeah, now that you're asking me all these questions, I guess I was really just thinking about how we do things in the US, and basically just wanted to do the same thing in Japan.
Our presence in Japan isn't really the same as in the US yet, so it's totally okay if we do something different there. Different markets, different stages, different strategies.
True. Wow. Well, this has really been eye-opening. Thanks, Linda. I think I'm going to go back to our team and figure out if we should still go down this path or use some other strategy for attracting talent in Japan. Thanks so much for your help.
Anytime. We're always here to help. Helping teams think through this stuff is actually one of the most important things we do here.
Definitely. This was super helpful. This localization stuff is a lot more complex than I realized. Oh, and hey, where can I get one of those t-shirts?